and other resources, the state government have trained over 200 surveillance and ad hoc personnel. We have established holding and treatment centers at Rivers State University Hospital, as well as the General Hospital in Cham, Eleme. We have trained health workers both in the private and public sectors on infection control measures and appropriate use of personal protective equipment, PPE. We provided PPEs for all our health workers directly involved in the fight against COVID-19, and sanitizers and infrared thermometers for us at all public offices. I've established the Rivers State Task Force on border closure. We have received 250 bed isolation and treatment tents located at the General Yakubu Gowon Stadium, donated by private sector-led initiative on COVID-19. We have received one Geneclat RT-PCR testing machine from Total EMP. We have procured some ventilators as well as received some orders for some private sector donors. In fact, after this press briefing, we went to Rivers State Teaching Hospital to receive another testing kit of PCR from the Pamo clinics. We have successfully prosecuted several violators of our borders and secured 188 convictions so far. And recently, we have arrested 45 persons illegally operating night markets in Rumokoro, Elimbu, and Rumokosi communities. The state of COVID-19 transmission in Rivers State. As of today, 1st May 2020, Rivers State has recorded 13 confirmed cases of COVID-19 infections. 4 are females and 9 males. Out of this number, 2 have recovered and discharged, 9 are active and receiving medical attention in our treatment center. One, unfortunately, 2 lost their lives because of this pandemic. We recall that we had the first and second cases of coronavirus infections in the state in late March 2020. But it is significant to note that the third case was recorded after a lull of about 1 month interval. Furthermore, apart from the 6 cases who has known travel history, the rest were returnees to the state from Italy, United Kingdom, and Lagos, or persons who had close contacts with already affected persons. Indeed, 5 of the most recent cases are all children and a relative of the second death case. The 5 people that tested positive as of yesterday, you can't believe it that we had a threat from the children of the woman who threatened to sue the state government that would say that their mother died of coronavirus. But as we speak today, 2 of the children have tested positive, and even a pastor who was praying for the woman also tested positive. And these are people who are related to the second death case that we had. The logical conclusion, therefore, is that the pattern of transmission of COVID-19 in the state is evidentially predicated on importation from outside, just as the rate of infection and progression is also relatively low and arithmetical when considered from the date of the index case. Generally, we believe that unless there is sudden and vertical slide into community transmission, we expect our COVID-19 infection and prevalence rate to continue along this low trajectory. This gives us the assurance that our hard work is paying off, and Rivers State is certainly not in any dangerous position when compared to the situation in most other states, and will never be by God's special grace. This is not to say that we are at the peak of this crisis and that everything about the containment and transmission of COVID-19 is under control. No, we are not, because of the challenges occasioned primarily by the negative elements that continue to deliberately undermine and sabotage our efforts to protect our people from this disease. For instance, The seventh infected case was an offshore oil and gas worker who went and passed a night in Lagos Hotel before returning to Port Harcourt on the 9th of April 2020 with the aid of security personnel manning our borders. When his symptoms started, he was admitted to a private hospital, St. Martin's Hospital, on the 20th and discharged on the 21st of April 2020 before testing positive to the virus after almost over 2 weeks of close contact with other people. Had the security agencies not compromised their responsibility at the borders, this man would have been prevented from coming into Port Harcourt and threatening the lives of other people with this virus. Again, on the 29th of April 2020, our surveillance team picked up 2 men from the Niger Republic who came into the state from Lagos with the help of security personnel despite the closure of the entry routes into the state. And so long as security personnel continue to allow people with this virus into the state through the closed borders without first ensuring that they are quarantined and their infection status determined, so long shall our state and our people will be exposed to the threat of contracting COVID-19. In addition, we are virtually fighting this battle without any tangible material support from the federal government. We are wondering, as most of you may also be, that up to now, the NCDC has not established any testing center in the state, in spite of our position, which socioeconomic and demographic mix and health transmission threat hanging over as a result. Was this deliberate? If not so, why and what was the justification for this dangerous neglect, which is obviously limiting our capacity to expand testing for this virus in the state? But for us as a government, every single new infection of COVID-19 in our state is one too many. We shall therefore continue to take necessary measures to control and possibly end the transmission of this disease in Rivers State, in spite of the enormous challenges and lack of concrete support from the federal government. It is for the very reason that we have taken our effect in our hands with the establishment of the Border Security Task Force, which has been mandated to provide and ensure a watertight situation in all our entry and exit points and prevent any unauthorized entry and or exit of persons and vehicles into the state during the period of the closure. These are all Rivers sons and daughters, and we expect them to protect the interests of the state at all costs and not compromise and risk the health and survival of our people in exchange for some filthy naira notes. We also expect and request the security agencies to cooperate with the task force and fully enforce not only our order on the closure of our borders, but also the President's directive on the ban on interstate travel from next Monday, 4th May 2020. Procurement and distribution of food items to vulnerable households. On the 26th of April 2020, I announced the provision of 2 billion naira by the state government for the procurement of food items from local farmers for distribution to vulnerable households across the state. We also established a credible committee headed by Ambassador Desmond Akawa to undertake the thankless job of distributing the procured foodstuffs and ensure that they get to the targeted groups. Reports reaching us from independent monitors indicate that so far, both committees are creditably executing their respective mandates in spite of the difficult logistical challenges that are involved. As a matter of fact, the procurement committee has so far purchased and delivered to our warehouses local food items including garri, yam, beans, fish, palm oil, plantain, tomatoes, and onions worth over 590 million naira. Similarly, the Food Distribution Committee has successfully distributed food packages to vulnerable households in 16 local government areas, namely Obiakpor, Port Harcourt, Ikwere, Eleme, Amuma, Boni, Opobonkoro, Tai, Okrika, Eche, Akukutoro, Asaritoron, Oyibo, Gokana, Hana, and Omal, Ibn and Ndoni local government areas. The committee will ensure that vulnerable households in the remaining 7 local government areas also receive their food packages before the end of next week. The committee has also received donations of food items from a number of individuals and corporate bodies which it is distributing to the needy among us. Details of the list of food donors and what was donated shall be published in the national dailies in due course as a measure of public appreciation for their kind gestures. This applies also to those who have made cash donations to the state government's efforts at combating the coronavirus. Let me assure our people that the delivery of palliatives and other relief measures to vulnerable households is a continuous exercise, and the state government will continue to provide funding for this purpose. While we are not under any illusion about the presence of the risk of this virus in our midst, we are making tremendous progress that clearly underscores our belief that our aggressive strategy and targeted measures have been effective in combating the spread of COVID-19 in our state. Accordingly, the directives and restrictions were put in place to maintain social distancing must continue, and all residents are advised to strictly follow and comply in the interest of the health and lives of everybody. In addition, the wearing of face masks in all public places is not compulsory throughout the state. Now, in the next 24 hours, the Security Council will meet as to determine the fate of commercial drivers in our state, because this is one area that we have identified that we have not been able to really comply in terms of social distancing. I believe that in the next 24 hours, when the Security Council meets, a decision will be taken either to ban all commercial vehicles from operating in the state, and the government will provide an alternative to that effect. So government bosses are ready, but we're waiting for Security Council to meet and to take a final decision, because this COVID-19 is a life and death issue. It's not something we can say that it's only by closing of borders. If you see our buses and taxis, the way they pack human beings, you can see there's no compliance in terms of social distancing. So we must have to take a drastic measure to see that we don't transmit this disease. Let me also finally warn some community leaders and residents in Rumuokoro, and this is the final time I'm going to warn the leaders and residents of these various communities, Rumuokoro, Alimbu, and Rumuokoro, and warn for the last time to either comply with our directives on social distancing and disease on all business activities, including night markets, or risk a total lockdown in these areas and a permanent closure of oil mill markets throughout this administration. If they don't desist in these night markets that they operate in Rumuokoro, in Alimbu and Rumuokoro, then we'll have a total lockdown in Alimbu, in Rumuokoro, and then a permanent closure of the oil mill market. While we agree with Mr. President's decision to gradually reopen the country for business, we shall be guided by the peculiarities of our state and want to relax the measures we have put in place and gradually restore business activities to the state. Until then, I wish to restate that we love all residents of River State. Please maintain social distancing, stay at home, wear face masks in public places, and stay safe. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Gentlemen of the press, we've heard from